Hello and welcome to Pet Pals. I'm Bethany Davidson, the Humane Educator here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. And this morning we're starting off a little differently. Usually we kick off our show with some dogs, but Tammy and I have guinea pigs to start the show today. And that's for a very important reason. Right now at the shelter we have a large guinea pig population. So in order to kind of facilitate more adoptions for our little piggy friends, we are running a special right now on our guinea pigs. So piggies that are in a cage together and are friends bonded, like Milky Way, who is sitting on my lap, and Snickers, who is sitting on Tammy's lap. If you adopt one, the adoption fee will be waived for the second guinea pig. So it's kind of a BOGO deal for those animals that are already friends. Now, why is it important to adopt two? Well, guinea pigs are herd animals. They are not only social, but it makes them feel safer because they are smaller. So it has a lot of benefits for them. Guinea pigs like to chat. They are very talkative. They are more active in the early morning hours and the late evening hours, so dusk and dawn. And they like to be played with and cuddled. I think of them as a good alternative if you can't have like a cat or a dog, because they are still social enough that you can play with them, you can cuddle with them, they recognize you, but they live in a more confined spaces, so a lot of people who maybe can't have a cat or a dog in an apartment or a rental facility could have one of these guys and still have that bond with a pet. It is important to make sure that you're doing your research though, so that you know what you're getting into. With this special, you are already getting two guinea pigs that know each other and can live in a cage together. So you don't have to worry about that. But with guinea pigs that are not familiar with one another, you would have to house them in separate cages and slowly get them acclimated to one another before housing them together. Our normal adoption fee for our guinea pigs is $10. Typically we would do, if you get two guinea pigs, you get one for $5, so it's 2 for $15, but now it's just 2 for $10, because we're doing that adopt one, get one with the adoption fee waived. So if you haven't checked out our new small animal room, now is a great time to visit because it is filling quite quickly with small animals. Not only our guinea pig population, but we also have a large rabbit population. So if you're into the kind of more non-traditional pets, it's a great time to visit. The first dog that we have for you is Paisley, and as you can hear, she wants to make her presence known. She is a beautiful black and tan coonhound mix, and she's between 9 and 11 months old, so she's still going to be part of our puppy process. Because we've definitely noticed about her is that she has some training. She knows some basics like sit and down and paw, but she needs a little bit of structure to tone down that energy. She's a little bit of a jumpy puppy still. So she, while she has some of those basics, she needs to learn when to put them into place, I guess. So she'll be adopted as part of our puppy process, which means that we're going to take up to 4 applications and choose the best fit for her. Because she is a very mouthy still, we have put her down as an animal that needs to go to a home with older children or adults only. When we say older children, we typically mean 12 and up. However, that's not kind of set in stone. It's an individual case, so that's just our guideline. And then we are looking for someone who has hound experience with her. She came in, she wanted to sniff everything. Hounds are lovable dogs. They're big, goofy dogs, but they do have some special characteristics. If they get their nose on a scent, they want to follow it, and sometimes they're willing to do anything to get to where that scent is. So sometimes that means digging under a fence, jumping over a fence, running through an electric fence, an electric invisible fence, so any of those things. So we want to make sure that people are well aware what they're getting into with Paisley, especially since she does need to work on her good manners a little bit there. And then no apartments for her. Hound dogs like to bay and bark, and you know, in an apartment, that's probably not going to go over well with your neighbors. And also, she needs to be able to get out and run and do things like that. So we're going to, you know, set her up for the best placement that we can find her. Her behavior assessment, again, she's a little mouthy when she gets overstimulated. She is friendly and excited. She can be cautious around strangers. She reacts favorably to other dogs. She's a little jumpy, pulls a little bit, so that can make it hard to leash her and walk her, which is why we have her on a slip lead harness, so that she's not pulling on her neck, and it gives us a little bit more control. We are open to the public for animal viewing 6 days a week. Those hours are going to be Monday, Tuesday, and Friday from 10 to 5, Wednesday and Thursday from 12 to 8, and Saturdays from 10 to 4. We hope that you'll stop in and visit with Paisley. Maybe a big dog like Paisley isn't what you're looking for. We also have small dogs on the adoption floor right now, and one of those guys is Pete, and he is a cream-colored Tibetan Spaniel mix. He came to us previously owned. Apparently they couldn't take him to their new home they were moving, so they brought him here to us so that we could find him another suitable home. So he's about 2 to 3 years old. He, as is quite evident, loves a good squeaky toy. He's really happy playing with all these toys that are made available to him today. But it's important to look through his paperwork. He did test positive for Lyme, so that's going to require not necessarily a lot of medical care, but it is something that you want to keep an eye on. We are not treating him currently because he's not showing any symptoms. If he were to start showing those symptoms, most vets do a 30-day cycle of doxycycline, and then just communicating to your vet that you're interested in maybe adopting a dog that tested positive for Lyme, so that they can go over with you kind of what to expect, so that you're prepared. We don't want to send a dog home with someone who can't afford any treatments or something like that, so then the dog might end up back here in the shelter. Our behavior assessment of Pete, he's very friendly, but he does need work on his house training, which is something that most people understand, but not everybody wants to do. So if you're not willing to work on house training for a dog that's an adult already, like Pete, then maybe he's not the right fit for you. He's a little nervous around other dogs, but he's easy to walk, he's easy to leash up. Doesn't really have any issues with food aggression. He reluctantly gives up toys when asked. He gets frustrated apparently when you don't give him his toy, and he will demand them back by barking at you. He likes to be petted. Our staff here says he's a very sweet dog, but again, that house training is something that he's really going to need some assistance with. If you wanted to visit with Pete, the first step is going to be to come in and visit with him here at the shelter. Because he's a smaller dog and we have a large population, he's in half of a kennel, so you might not see him upon first glance. You want to come around to the back side of that main dog floor. He's going to be on one of those back cages, so then you can get set eyes on him for yourself and see if you want to take the time to meet with him outside of his kennel. The adoption fee for Pete would be $92.50. So on our adoption floor, we have 2 dogs that have been on the show before, Stuart and Owen. And as I mentioned when they were on the show, they came from a neglect case. And now we're going to have 2 more dogs that are going to finish up the canine portion of our show that are from the same case. These guys are a little bit more reserved, a little bit shyer, and so they are only available by appointment. So they're adoptable, but they are not on our typical adoption floor because all of the comings and goings are, and the noises are a little stressful for them. So the first dog that we have that is available by appointment is Oakley, and he is a 2-year-old Whippet mix. He is a very, very sweet dog, but he's very shy, very reserved at first. He's going to require a lot of patience when he's getting to know someone, but it's definitely worth it. Tammy spends a great deal of time with these dogs, so they're very comfortable with her, and they will come right up and snuggle and lick her face and all of that stuff, which is something that a potential adopter would have to look forward to, but it does take a little bit of time. Because he's in a new room right now with some new people he's never met before, he's definitely showing a more reserved side. He's being very cautious, which is kind of typical for his behavior. Again, this guy is super sweet and has a lot of potential, but he did come from not a great home, so he's working up to learning to trust people around him. He will require a lot of socialization, a lot of training to make him feel comfortable in the world, because we want to make sure we're setting him up for the best home possible. We are asking that he be the only dog in the home, that children be either age 10 and up, or it be an adult-only home, and a home visit is required for Oakley before we will send him to any new family. His adoption fee will be $92.50. That covers all of the medical care that we provided for him while he was here, as well as his room and board and things like that. If you're interested in visiting with him, the best thing to do is call to make an appointment to see him. The number for the shelter here is 301-600-1546. The last dog that we have for you today is Asia, and she is a beloved resident here. All of the staff, she's very special and near and dear to our hearts. She is the matriarch of the group that came in from the neglect case. She's actually Stewie's mom, and she came in, and she's about 3 years old. She is a boxer mix, and she is quite possibly the sweetest dog when she knows you. She's definitely under-socialized. She's very shy around new people, very shy around new places. We've tried to have her hang out in different places in the building, and because she's so not used to them, she just becomes very anxious, very stressed in those environments. So it's definitely going to require a lot of patience with Asia, just to get her used to new things and show her that the world isn't a scary place. Just like all of the others, we have spent time getting them up to a good health point. She is up to a good weight now. Some might say we gave her too many treats along the way. And she's a very kind of happy dog when she gets to know you. She loves to smile and play and give kisses, and of course she loves a good treat. She just has a really great personality, but she still has some things to overcome. Teaching her some good basic manners, and again, getting her socialized to new people, new places, new things. Sometimes we don't even think about something as simple as putting on a hat or a winter jacket can be scary for a dog that's not familiar with those things. Even today, she's much more comfortable in this place because Tammy's here, and she's very comfortable with Tammy. She sees Tammy pretty much every day. And then to make her more comfortable with the cameraman, Richard, who she's not used to, we actually had him feed her a couple of treats to kind of establish that rapport where, okay, he's a nice guy, he's a friend, he's going to give us treats, he's okay, so that she felt comfortable. Well, we want to thank you for watching this portion of the show, especially to give us an opportunity to showcase Oakley and Asia, who definitely don't get seen by the public nearly enough. We hope that you will share their story with some of your friends, and maybe we can find them loving adoptable homes here in the near future. After the break, we are going to introduce you to some of our feline population who also are looking for their new homes.
Many volunteer opportunities are available on Frederick County boards and commissions, whether the Commission on Aging, Human Relations Commission, the Solid Waste Advisory Committee, Workforce Development Board, or many others. Those desiring to serve must be residents and registered voters of Frederick County. For more information, contact Joyce Grissnickel at 301-600-1102 or by email at fcgboards@frederickcountymd.gov.
Welcome back. The first cat that we're showcasing for you today is one of the first cats that you'll see when you walk on our adoption floor. This is Mira Maggie Mittens. She has a big name because it suits her because she's a big girl, so she can handle it. She came in with that name. We are also just calling her Mira for short, or some people are calling her Maggie. I call her M cubed. She is a big girl. She weighs in at 18 pounds, 8 ounces. So she is one of our cats that's on a diet plan right now. She's 9 years old. She's domestic long hair. Just her obesity has led to some kind of health problems for her. Number one, her fur was really matted. So she was clipped for that. She is having difficulty grooming herself because of her weight. She can't reach everywhere. That, along with the fact that maybe her previous owner wasn't brushing her enough, led to some mats, which can be uncomfortable, so we clipped those. And then she can't reach her rear end very well, so we're helping her by making sure that we clean that a couple of times a week as well. People don't seem to think that having an overweight animal is a big deal, but it really is. As you can see already, she's not able to properly groom herself, which is a concern and can lead to some health problems. But also things like mobility issues, diabetes, and then fatty liver disease, and all of these other things that could really compromise her health and shorten her lifespan. So it's going to be important for whoever wants to add Mira to their home to make sure that they're talking to their vet and getting her on a good diet plan and getting her down to a healthy weight so that she can live the rest of her life happy and healthy. She does also have a grade 3 or 4 for her dental, which means that in the next few months to within a year, she will probably need to have a dental done. So that's something that you want to take into consideration as well. It can be a fairly expensive procedure depending on what needs to be done if there's extraction. So you want to have a plan in place for that as well. So if you're interested in this sweetheart of a cat, you can stop in and visit with her here at the shelter. Because she is a senior, she will go home for a reduced adoption fee. So you can come in and talk with our staff about that. We hope that you'll come in and visit with her soon. Kitten season is in full swing around here, so we did want to introduce you to one of the kittens that's available for adoption here at FCAC. This guy is Tucker, and he's one of my personal favorites. He is not your typical kitten because he's much shyer than the rest, and he is part of our Frady Cat program, which means that a special group of volunteers are able to interact with him. First thing, our Frady Cats, they are only allowed to have certain volunteers interact with them to minimize their exposure to strangers because we don't want to overwhelm them. So they get used to a certain amount of people. It's an even bigger deal with kittens because kittens typically, we don't allow volunteers to interact with them at all because they get so much interaction from potential adopters. But because he's a little bit more reserved and he's actually a black cat, it's making it harder for adopters to take notice of Tucker here. Black cats sometimes blend into the background of their dark cages. Sometimes there's just nothing about their color and their coats and their patterns that makes them stand out and be distinctive and draw attention to a potential adopter. You know, most people want that really outgoing, cuddly kitten, and that's not always Tucker. He is very sweet and very affectionate, but it does take him a while to warm up, and he has come a long way. Initially, when you would come up to his cage, he would give you a little hiss, not to be aggressive, but because he was scared. And now he's not doing that as much as people are working with him. He's playing more, he's coming up to the front of his cage, so he's doing very well. But he is still going to be shy when you take him home. He's probably going to go back to being, you know, a little bit more shy like he was in the beginning and have to work his way back up from that in a new environment. A quieter home would probably be a better place for him. A place with lots of loud kids and noises and things like that probably wouldn't be the best fit for him. But another thing that we have noticed about him is that he loves to be petted, he loves to be rubbed, he will roll around, let you rub his belly, but he doesn't really seem to enjoy being picked up. That's not his thing. But he was in my office, sitting on my desk, and I was typing, and he came and kind of sat right in the crook of my arm. So he does like to cuddle, but just on his terms and not necessarily wanting to be picked up. All of our kittens are adopted for a fee of $97.50. We make sure that all of them are spayed or neutered before they leave. We offer, you know, rabies vaccine, distemper vaccine, microchipping, county license, flea and tick preventative, dewormer, and a free well visit to the vet. So you really can't beat that for less than $100. Our next guest is Kitty, and she's about 2 years old, and she is really trying to make herself stand out among the crowd. We have a lot of cats on the adoption floor right now, a lot of kittens, and she's really been working it lately, coming up to the front of her cage, meowing, hanging off her hammock in funny ways, just bringing a lot of attention to herself. But unfortunately, all of her work hasn't really landed her any adoption applications, so we thought we would give her a little bit of assistance and put her on the show today, and maybe one of our viewers will find that she's just the cat that they've been looking for. Again, she's 2 years old. She's a beautiful brown tabby. She was brought to the shelter because they say that she's aggressive with other animals. So they didn't say specifically what other animals they were talking about. They didn't say if it was a cat or a dog. They did say that she gets along with small animals, so I'm not exactly sure what that means. But she'd only lived with them for 2 months. So depending on the animals and their personalities, it can take them up to a year or longer to feel comfortable in their home. So we ask that you give them at least 90 days, which is a period of about 3 months to get along. But again, it can take longer. Just because she didn't get along with these animals in this home doesn't mean that she's not suitable for a home with other animals, but it is something that you want to consider before taking her on so that she doesn't end up back here. Animals have different personalities just like we do, and sometimes they don't mesh well with the personalities of the other animals in the home. I personally have 4 cats at home, and none of them are really best friends, but they all kind of coexist, and that's perfectly fine. That's a successful integration of a new pet as long as they're not hurting one another. So I wouldn't necessarily let this deter you, but it is something that you want to think about if you do have other animals in your home. It says here that she's shy and nervous, afraid of loud noises, and that is something that we have seen when she first came into the shelter, but as she's gotten comfortable living here, she's definitely opened up a lot, especially in the last week or two. She's showing that she's definitely a lap cat. She has a playful side. She definitely has a silly side. She is constantly hanging off the top of her hammock in funny ways with just her head hanging off the bottom there. So she definitely has a sweet personality. It just takes a little time for her to develop that comfort level where she wants to showcase what a true gem that she is. Next, we have a bonded pair for you. The bonded pairs are just so cute and sweet, and these two are particularly adorable because they truly love each other. When you walk by their cage, you'll often see them in one little cat bed, curled up together, just snoozing away. They definitely take comfort with one another. They like to groom each other, which is why we can't even imagine separating them. So they'll be adopted together. We will not separate them. So over here on my lap, This is Sweets, and she is about 5 years old, and she is a calico. She's got some of the most unique markings for a calico that I've seen. She definitely has a lot of that orange tabby spots and then the dark black spots. So she's just got really interesting markings. And then over there with Tammy is 3-year-old Creamsicle. They are both girls, and they are, again, just the sweetest guys. They can be a little bit shy. So just, taking things slow with them. They really did not enjoy the short walk from the cat floor to our education room in their carriers. And they were quite vocal about letting us know their discomfort and displeasure. But right now what you're doing, what you're seeing with them kind of curled up on laps is what you get with them. It's what they like. It's what they like to do with each other and with their people. So if you're looking for a couple of sweet lap cats just to keep you company, these guys are going to be a great fit. So because Miss Sweets is listed as 5 years old, she will be $20 off for being a technical senior. So that will make her adoption fee $77.50. And then you get $20 off your adoption fee for adopting 2 cats. So that will take Creamsicle over there down to $77.50 as well. So you really can't beat all of the love that you're going to get when you adopt these guys, especially for that price. So if you're interested in 2 lovely little girls, definitely want to make sure that you stop in and visit with us. The last guest that we have for you today is Chester, and after Lizzie's adoption earlier in the week, Chester is now our oldest resident. He is 11 years old, and he again did come in with Sweets and Creamsicle and several other cats. They made their way to the shelter because unfortunately their owner passed away. That's something that we see quite frequently. Owners pass away, they don't have a plan in place, and their family and friends are just not prepared to take on the animals for whatever reasons. Sometimes, like in this case, there's just too many of them. They couldn't take them all on. Sometimes there's allergies and different things. So it's important as a pet owner, regardless of what kind of pet you own, to have a plan in place, just like you would plan for your children or your home, your finances. In the event that something were to happen to you, you have to have a plan for your animals as well. Chester here is a bit of a bigger guy. He's 14 pounds, 9.5 ounces. So it's possible that he could do with a little bit of a diet. We do have him listed as overweight. But other things, he definitely has a little bit of hair loss. Our vet is recommending that that's a food allergy, I believe. So making sure that you're talking to your vet and getting the best possible food for him to kind of make sure that he's staying as happy and healthy as is possible. He is definitely a lover of attention. I've seen the volunteers interact with him. He will ask for attention. He just loves to be with people. He nuzzles people. He wants to be close to them. But he's perfectly fine being on his own too. He'll just cuddle up in his bed and be quite content. He's very calm. He's easy to handle. He's friendly. He has previously lived with cats and dogs, as all of these animals have. He's used to being around children. So he's definitely a well-rounded senior. You shouldn't be afraid of adopting a senior. And the added benefit is that their adoption fee is less. Because he's over the age of 10, he'll go home for a $40 reduction in his adoption fee, making him adoptable for a fee of just $57.50. So we're going to vet check him. We're going to make sure that he's microchipped and he's gotten his rabies and his distemper vaccine. He's been dewormed. He's had flea and tick preventative. We also offer a free well visit to the vet. So you really can't beat that. That's basically... It's close to 50% off for adopting an amazing senior like Chester. We want to thank you for watching the show today. It's a great opportunity for us to spotlight adoptable animals here at the shelter and maybe introduce you to your new forever family. If you didn't see something that you think is going to be a good fit for you, you can always stop in and visit with us, or you can tune in next week to see what we'll spotlight for you then. Thanks for watching.